Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 13th of April. So looking at the euro dollar first, and it would appear that Trump thought the dollar was too strong yesterday or last night in an interview, and immediately he said it was too strong. It weakened a bit. So late session, we saw this shove up that we were currently experienced, and we're now sitting almost back into the monthly pivot. Now from a daily picture, let me just widen this angle a little bit. Oops, there we go. It's certainly sort of made a move which could push further. I'm just wondering now, it just run into the daily 21, whether yes, it pipped through it this morning, but whether we'll see a bit more of a correction back now. After all, the very fact that you just said it's too strong doesn't really mean it should fall immediately, and the euro should fly, but we'll see. Looking at the 4-hourly, I mean, it's showing the same sort of picture with the 200 there. 60 minutes shows us an untouched daily pivot below, which has a reasonable probability of being hit. The thing at the moment is it may just run straight down towards it. Certainly post 8 o'clock, it may be a trade back towards that. Maybe to the 21s, it was now, as I say, having looked at the overnight scene there with this sort of divergence, the lack of continuation as the markets have mulled over what he said, and well, we could easily come back towards the daily pivot, maybe a bit more. Okay, the pound. Again, saw the benefit of the speech. It did have a little blip up beforehand anyway. Didn't quite go quite so crazy, but it looks like it. I mean, I've been looking at this daily 200 for some time, and it looks like it may want to push on up for that sort of level at some point. Whether it's today is another matter, and again, we may see a bit more of a correction. Again, we've got a daily pivot untouched below, and it's pretty much the same picture as the euro in a sense. Is not so much in the way of divergence of the highs. It's a bit of a different pattern from that perspective, but in the main, it looks like at the moment we're seeing the sell-off back towards the daily pivot. Things tend to correct themselves. Dollar yen. Well, from a daily perspective, we're down to the daily 200. Again, target I was looking at, if it did break down to the downside on the weekly outlook. Seeing a bounce off of that at the moment, it could, again, well, sort of weekly S3 pivot there as well. It could get a bit more of a kicker yet. It's within a smidgen of its daily pivot. Could push on towards the 60 minute to 50, certainly, if it carries on in this mode, and that would put it back to where it was before Trump. You can see Trump, the Trump hour at 8 o'clock there. It could put it back to where it was around about that time. Okay, Aussie dollar. We are going to pay Trump in the future just to put it on Twitter, a private Twitter account to us, that he's going to tell us the dollar's too strong, I think, in the future. Aussie dollar, well, again, daily wise, it's, to me, it's held up better. It should hold up better than the other pairs in a sense. The jobs news overnight came out, through the Asian session, came out positive. The employment change was 40,000 more than expected, so quite a positive number coming through there. The China trade balance was good as well. Chinese data, good Chinese data often has a relatively good effect on the Aussie, so we've seen that reaction. Little else there, that's okay. It's just look at the 4-hourlies here, and well, maybe in the short term we could be starting to get, certainly on the hourlies there, a bit overbought and may see a bit of a correction. Daily pivot's a long way below. Will we see that hit today? Well, if we see a major sell-off, yes, but it's got more positive news through on it anyway, as I say, with the jobs data. So maybe the correction would be less, but we may see a correction all the same. Canadian dollar. Well, let's just quickly flick through to oil. Just check what the oil situation is. Oil dropped off quite strongly yesterday. There picked back up to about 53, but that looks like a sort of an opportunity. If it breaks the lows there, that will roll over. So we could see the Canadian dollar on that basis. If it does do that, pushing up further, daily pivot above us. Just look from the dailies first though, and looking from the top down, and you air kiss that daily 200 now. May still want to come back and catch that. It's so close to it. Certainly got the possibility of doing so. If it breaks through that, well, then we could see a bigger correction overall. Looking at the 4 hourlies, it's not really giving me much more of a picture, although there's a bit of divergence around the lows, and it's certainly, as I say, at the moment running back towards the daily pivot. May run a bit through that. There's a possibility it could run back towards the sort of 50 area, depending how much oil comes off. Okay, that's pretty much it today then. Just running through the news that's coming out at 9:30. We've got the Bank of England credit conditions survey. May get a little bit of volatility around that. It's not a big move in general. And then 1:30, we've got some Canadian data coming out, and the usual some inflation data from the US and PPI data. Now, it's not a big mover, the PPI. Weekly unemployment claims, not a big mover. So all in all, even the Canadian manufacturing sales, that may give a bit of oomph there for the Canadian dollar at 130. But we've got the consumer sentiment in the US at 3, which again, it's not been given much in the way of movement of late. So I don't see, I should say also at 3:30, we've got the Bank of Canada governor speaking. Well, he spoke yesterday, so whatever he says is probably going to be very much in line with what he said yesterday, whoever he's speaking to. So I would expect he's due to testify with Senior Governor Carolyn Wilkins, but I'm sure it'll be much the same as what we saw yesterday, and that didn't give a lot of volatility at 4:15. Okay, that's it for me today. I won't be trading until next Tuesday now, after today's trading. So I'll be back on the updates on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.